Welcome, everyone. We didn't do this yesterday. We're doing it today instead because everyone was sort of like out or busy yesterday. John, you were at home. Gus, you were out.
I was playing PUBG.
So it would have been basically like me staring at a screen going, well, that was an episode. And so we do it today instead. But it's okay because there's a whole lot to talk about. First of all, if you have not seen Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 3, you don't want to watch this.
The Queen's Justice.
Yeah, it's called The Queen's Justice. So this one is all about two queens. This is Daenerys and what she's got going on, Cersei, what she's going on, and I guess kind of Sansa, what she's got going on. And what?
Lady Tyrell.
She's not a queen, though.
Sansa's not a queen either.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, like a little bit.
The boss lady's justice.
A little bit of a queen. But I thought there was a lot going on this episode. It ended and I was like, what, already? And then checked the time and it had been an hour.
There was a lot that went on, but I gotta say, I appreciate how long they stayed with the conversation between Daenerys and Jon Snow at the beginning. Yeah. I was afraid that they were going to truncate it to try to get to more action.
I feel like they truncated other things instead.
Yes, the episode started immediately. Jon Snow's at fucking Dragonstone. I was like, holy shit! They didn't even show up at White Harbor or anything, and it was 20 minutes into the episode before they finally resolved that and moved on. It's like a third of the episode was just dedicated to that initial meeting.
Yeah.
How we always talked about what's the distance of these places? How long does it take to travel these places? And then John decides at the end of last episode to go to Dragonstone, and then the beginning of this episode, he's there. He's there.
He even says he's going to White Harbor to get on a boat. Yeah. This totally bypassed all of that. He's just at Dragonstone.
Yeah, they wasted absolutely no time in getting to the meeting that everyone wanted, which was, first of all, it was awesome. Yeah. But and I did like how long they spent having that exchange and, throwing their dicks around. But I also felt like it wasn't necessarily, I expected it to be the high point of an episode where those two characters meet. And it wasn't necessarily. There were a lot of crazy other things that happened.
Stole the fucking show.
Olenna Tyrell steals every episode she's in, or she did.
I did notice, though, Jon Snow gets there, in no time, but it still feels like that Arya's taking a really long time to get to...
And, so we didn't see Arya at all this episode.
Right.
There's a
theory?
Well, so...
Is that 2 episodes we haven't seen the Hound?
Yeah, we haven't seen the Hound either.
Oh, but we saw...
But we think they're headed north, so we
Bron,
think he's going with them. We did see Bron.
Oh, we did at the very
end. It had been a long time.
Just saw that he exists still. He's still alive.
But he's with Jaime. He's with the Lannisters, which also, more importantly, means that he's going to be in King's Landing. But we'll get to that. I actually made a whole document of notes. But that one involves the Sand Snake. So Arya being missing. One of the theories that's going around, and it's a bit of a stretch.
Well, there's a leak. Don't look at it.
Yeah, and guys, please watch out. Watch out for chat in terms of leaks, because the details for pretty much the entire season have leaked online. There was HBO got hacked, and they got a bunch of Game of Thrones information and scripts. So there are probably people out there posting false spoilers,
in our chat right now.
Because if you get real spoilers and false spoilers, you don't know what's going on, and so it's kind of unspoilery.
Stop.
Hey, John, don't do that. But still, you don't know what's real and what's fake, so it's a difficult time to be a Game of Thrones fan. No. So watch chat at your own risk, and please, you guys, don't be dicks. Don't be dicks. Everyone is enjoying this show. Everyone wants to keep watching it. And part of the enjoyment of it is the immediacy of not knowing what's coming, for better or for worse. Anyway, so there was a lot that happened this episode. There's plenty to talk about without spoiling future episodes. Again, didn't see Arya. Theory here
got
is...
timed out, motherfucker.
Nice. Good work, Gus. Is that... so there was a weird scene with the wolf when she saw Nymeria again, her direwolf, and she had this sort of realization that even if she goes north, her life isn't going to go back to the way it was. Everyone has moved on, and everyone is doing their own thing now.
Yeah.
And so one of the going theories is that she gives up on heading to the north and reuniting with her Stark family, and that she's going to continue on her own mission of vengeance, and that she's headed back to King's Landing. So one of the stretchier theories is that the maidservant that Cersei opens the door to
She asked
might
for
actually be Arya.
Yeah, she asked for fresh
interesting.
bread streets.
Because almost no character is shown without reason,
Say that
and
again?
we've never
The
lady that asked for
maidservant?
she asked her for fresh bed sheets, and it's the whole scene is like Cersei's in bed with Jaime, and he's like, "Don't open the
It's
door."
a bit of a stretch.
It is a stretch, but they very rarely introduce the character like that and spend any time on them without there being a reason for it. So the reason could have been as straightforward as, look now, a random maidservant has seen the two of them in bed and gossip will spread.
So, or just
Or it could be more than that.
Cersei's just saying like, "Oh, I'm a badass bitch. I'm running this place. I don't care if anybody knows that I'm fucking Jaime right now." But the reason that I think that that's wrong is because like I feel like Arya
Okay,
wouldn't.
interesting. So Arkham Doge, well, do we want to discuss stuff in next season or in the next episode's preview? We won't. We'll leave
Because I don't
that.
watch it.
We'll leave that.
I think that like Arya would not hesitate. Like if she had the opportunity, she would kill Cersei. Like she wouldn't like.
I mean, yeah, I
don't-
could.
I
imagine.
disagree because she spent her time cooking someone into a pie in order to
no.
get her comeuppance on Walder Frey.
But what's a more opportune time to kill someone than when they're both literally naked in their bed? He doesn't have his armor, his sword with him.
Well, she wants to kill Jaime too, doesn't she?
All right, both Cade Neal and
kill
Live
Ned?
Spam in chat are pointing out that maidservant has actually been seen before.
Okay.
So likely not Arya in that case.
Jaime didn't kill Ned.
Well, he fought him in a sword fight. I know he didn't kill Ned, but I feel like he was.
No,
like,
he wounded him in the
He was
leg.
instrumental.
in the whole death.
Yeah.
I disagree. I don't think he was. I
He
think
literally had that
I
whole
think if you
arrest
wanna-
sequence.
if you
Yeah.
want to blame someone, you blame Littlefinger for all that.
Which, by the way, I'm still bothered by the fact that Jon choked Littlefinger because that's exactly what Ned did before he died. So, like, I feel like Littlefinger, some shit.
You feel like there's been some foreshadowing there.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's gonna get eaten.
We also noticed that Littlefinger, speaking of Littlefinger, that he had a very peculiar reaction when he learned that every raven in and out of Winterfell there was a record kept of it by Maester Lewin.
Right. So in this scene, this is the scene where Sansa is walking through Winterfell. She's ordering things to be done. She's ordering more grain brought in. She's trying to prepare for a potential very long siege, essentially trying to get them all through the entire winter if necessary to survive the White Walkers. And as part of that, she's speaking with the Maester.
Yes.
And he says that he has records of all the ravens sent, which seems to concern Littlefinger to some degree.
Yeah, he definitely had a concerned look on his face.
Was it like a reaction shot specifically?
He
on
was
him?
like, he was in center of the frame, and he like turns and gives a look as like the characters are
Yeah.
walking by.
Like he wasn't just like, oh, and just listen to that. He made a look.
Yeah.
Well, and what's interesting about that is, like, we've been wondering what Littlefinger is up to. We're sure he's not just hanging around making sure that Sansa's doing awesome because he's just that swell guy, that he's got something planned and he's got his fingers in some kind of shady pie.
I think the best way to describe what Littlefinger does is that he is constantly having other fights done for him and has yet to step up in the spotlight.
But what
Although
is-
and I think he's gonna ride that strategy all the way through.
what's the fight right now,
It's
though?
like in PUBG when you stay near the blue border,
Right.
and you wait for everyone
God
else to get to
watch
the
damn
that
it,
middle.
number
Gus.
go down without you engaging, and you wait, wait.
But so what's his long game though? Because Catelyn's dead, and that's what he originally wanted. He wanted her. So is he like? Does he want Sansa?
Oh, yeah, he's made that clear for ages.
So I mean, is that like But I feel like by killing her brother. Well, I guess if she doesn't know that Jon was killed by
Yeah,
his
like
hand.
he's creepy as hell, but also Jon's not there right now, at least, to get killed. So you have to wonder what Littlefinger is doing exactly.
I still feel like since Jon is away, he's going to make it set up to where he frames Dany for his death or something like that.
could be, yeah.
Like I feel like that there can never be all of the Starks in Winterfell at once. I feel like something's going to go wrong to where Jon can't get there. Arya might make it back while he's gone, but I feel like not all four of them are going to be there at once.
Littlefinger was never on Arya's list, right?
Not that I know of. She may not know of his involvement.
Okay.
Like her list was very much based on people who had done her personal wrongs that she could see. So it was the guy that she saw kill her dad. It was the Hound. It was Cersei, who she was like this. It's her fault that my dad died. She had her list is very, very personal, and I don't know that she is aware of Littlefinger's hand in all that. But we had a lot of there were a lot of other things that happened. I thought that while overall the scene between Daenerys and Jon was, there was a lot of talkie-talkie, and actually she came across really kind of imperious in it, I thought.
I think she was trying. Yeah, I think she was trying to fill a role that she thinks she needs to be now that she's in
Westeros.
That was a great sequence when they first meet each other, and Missandei gives all of Daenerys' titles, and then
the unburnt, the breaker of chains, the queen of things, the queen of the Andals, and it's like it takes like 2 minutes, and he's like, "This is," and also that Jon has to like look over to him to be like, "It's your turn now," and he's like, "This is Jon Snow." Like,
and I saw someone did a Photoshop
it was great.
Daenerys and Jon Snow Starbucks cups next to each other.
I like
There's like filled and then Jon Snow.
Yeah, so
Onion
that was
someone that I'm like gonna be really sad if he gets killed.
Onion Knight's great. Also, that when Daenerys was getting a little bit uppity, he's like, "Hey, you don't know this guy either. He's done this. Man. He's done that. Like he's done all of this." Not based on a bloodline, but based on the fact that he worked hard and he earned people's trust, and they gave it to him. And that was, I was like, Onion Knight, he's
even
so
ready to
wonderful.
Spill the beans of like, motherfucker was resurrected.
So, here's why.
Why are they keeping that quiet?
Because maybe that's like voodoo you don't want to put out there.
Well, it is also a foreign religion. I mean, because in most of the Seven Kingdoms, they worship the seven.
Mm-hmm.
And so it could be that this is the red god, and maybe he's worried about this sort of interference of foreign gods into Westerosi affairs, or maybe he just doesn't want anyone to know that, he died. His own people betrayed him and killed him.
I feel like that is going to get brought back up because it was mentioned. Jon gave him that meaningful look, and then later on, Daenerys is like, "What did he mean by he was stabbed in the heart? What was that all about?" Like,
I think that the David Benioff and D.B. Weiss are much more TV people than George R.R. Martin, and so now they're ahead of the books. They have a general idea where to drive to, but they may be driving there very differently than George R.R. Martin. And so I feel like there's an awful lot of Chekhov's guns in this, where I don't feel like they use nearly as many things and then throw them away. If something turns up, it's because it matters and it's going to come up again later.
Sure.
For example.
That's a good point. Someone said keep it secret he's a Walking Dead. If he's literally there to talk against an army of the dead, if he were to out himself as literally
having been dead,
that's kind of a mixed signal.
It would undermine him a little bit.
But he's alive. He's alive.
He's alive.
Yeah, but he was dead,
Yeah.
and he's talking about an army that was dead and is now doing things that alive people do.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing a lot of clashing information about what fire and ice is, and like everybody's saying, well, obviously, ice and fire. Daenerys is fire. Jon is ice.
Although unbeknownst to him, Jon is in fact both fire and ice.
Right.
He's the only one who is.
Because she was saying she's the last Targaryen, so that's. That
and then we all go.
So is Bran gonna bring that up? Do you think?
He intends to. There was a scene. So Bran also he has now returned to Winterfell. He had a creepy ass reunion with Sansa.
You looked great that night that you were.
Why is he acting that way now?
Raped.
I think that it's going to be very difficult for Bran to stay tethered to the present, and I think he's losing a lot of social cues for one, because he clearly didn't know how to talk to Sansa. But I think that his definition of what normal is has changed. That said, I fucking hate Bran just as a character. I don't know what part he's playing in all this. I know that he's got to tell Jon that he's part Targaryen, but overall, I think I don't know where he's going or what they plan to do with him. And that, where I feel like the other characters are driving in a certain direction, he just seems like he's out over here, which, I mean, kind of makes sense because that's the character as well. He's separate from everyone else, but I don't know. Until they do something really cool with him, I just don't like him.
Yeah, he needs to show connection back to like the characters in reality for us to care about him again.
I don't know if he can. He's got like so much going on. He's seeing and he listening to so many different things. Right.
Yeah.
It's like such a broader view.
But he did come back he did come back to Winterfell, and he said, "Where's Jon? I need to talk to him." So he's got this on his mind, and he means to tell Jon. It's just that he missed him. It's that misconnection. So we could run into a situation where, I don't know, Daenerys and Jon, they seem like they're now on a track to allying, but they may, be at crosses at some point, and it can either become too late for that information to matter, or it'll come at just the right time, TV style.
Yeah, something will mess up, and then it's gonna go all bonkers.
So the initiative to take Westeros is not going well.
It is
for
not.
Daenerys.
It is not. So as a bit of a check-in coming into the season, Daenerys was the clear favorite to win the throne. She had 3 dragons. She had an army of elite Unsullied. She had the Dothraki hordes. She had allies with Dorne, Highgarden, and the Iron Islands. So the only one of the 4 that have been set against Cersei that she didn't have was the North, but she had everyone else. Cersei was surrounded. Cersei, she had enemies on every single side. Her gold had pretty much run out. She had, her brother being like, "You can do it, sis," but you're kind of scary right now. And now Daenerys she's still got her dragons. She has Unsullied, but they're now stranded at Casterly Rock, which we'll get to that too. She has her Dothraki, but she also doesn't really want to unleash them on her people.
Well, that's been her downfall from the beginning. Like none of these armies of her being overthrown would have happened if she hadn't, decided that she didn't want to be the Queen of the Ashes and wanted to do this the careful way. The careful way is fucking her up. Like she's got I think it's pretty clear at this point. Yeah, that would have been ideal. That point has passed. You need to do Scorched Earth.
Right. Well, because now she's lost Dorne, she's lost Highgarden, she's lost the Iron Islands. Like all 3 of those regions that she had as allies have been decimated, and she's now being forced into a spot where she's talking about using her dragons on Euron's fleet. Do we think Euron has any of those ballista?
I mean, he's come back to.
Since that developed.
So they could have theoretically outfitted the ships with them, but do you think they have yet? They haven't made any mention of it since they pulled the curtain off and said, "Look at these giant crossbows."
I think they planted that seed and it'll come back.
Yeah, and she did say, like, someone pointed out the dragons. She said that there might be ways of dealing with them. She made a reference in this episode to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be like fucking pulling a tarp off of a lump of stuff in the middle of a battle, like, ha ha! Just shoot the dragon. That's what's going to happen.
I mean, one of them has to die probably in the next couple of episodes.
Now, in chat, Falcon4196 says the Casterly Rock and Highgarden battles were so disappointing. You can clearly see the writer's fingers on the scale to pump up Cersei's threat level. I actually had a different criticism of those battles, and that was how little we saw. So, as part of this. We didn't see much of the Unsullied in the last episode because they were on their way via the fleet to Casterly Rock. This week, they landed at Casterly Rock and they took it. And by the way, can we get a shout out to Tyrion's little Hodor?
Yeah, that's great.
Because Tyrion designed the sewers at Casterly Rock, and he had a little door in there to bring his ladies in.
Thank you, guys.
His Hodor. It was awesome.
I was a little disappointed at how Casterly Rock looked itself.
Right, you'd think it'd be grand and rich. It's like this is the seat of the Lannisters, and it was just sort of average.
Your standard castle.
And I feel like had this been any other season, even though yes, it turned out that it was undermanned because most of the forces had moved off already, they would have shown more of a battle than like a montage of stab, stab, stab. Where is everyone? I feel like they would have had more going on there.
I think
but they're in like a rush.
Yeah, I think it was a decision of moving the story along and getting these going. They can't stop every single episode to devote 20 minutes to a battle sequence like Battle of the Bastards or even the silence fight in the first episode. And that also, like, from a production standpoint, you gotta get money. They can't like spend all this money on these huge battles every episode and have dragons in the episode and have huge cinematic images of these boats on the water.
Well, this is what they've written to.
Right, I know.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. That's like there are on a production standpoint, there are corners that you cut where you're like, hey, we're not going to have a 20-minute battle sequence here. We got to move this along and have the Unsullied have their little sequence, and that's it.
I'm sure we're gonna have. They have like bigger fish to fry with other battles in this season that I think that they're like saving up those big epic battle scenes for. But yeah, I did like that Tyrion laid out how it would have gone and then how it went.
Yeah, I thought that was cool to see like what could be, but then like how they arranged it. And they were smart about taking Casterly Rock, but we're now at a point because Euron swooped in with the fastest ships on the world that can get anywhere, anytime, apparently, and wiped out the fleet that would have sailed the Unsullied back to Dragonstone. So they're now stranded. They're in a situation where eventually they'll have to give up that stronghold and
what's the-
march overland through hostile territory.
Geographically speaking, they are across the continent.
Yeah.
They are way on the west side of the continent, and Dragonstone
is on the east, and then they had to sail all the way down, around, and back up to get to the Lannisters.
That's one episode. It's back. They can get back.
Apparently. But so Cersei, meanwhile, has honestly, while, yes, a lot of this I think is the writers conveniently finding ways to make Cersei more of a threat because Daenerys was so overpowered going into the season. She successfully made allies with Euron, who, by the way, is growing on me, but we'll talk about that.
Euron's awesome.
Well, I didn't like him I thought he was over emotive in the previous battle where he's like, look at me, I'm
No,
a
come
cool
on, that was
dragon."
awesome.
And then he's
Finger in the bum.
and he's like, haha, but I think the consistency is starting to grow on me.
Well,
that he's always just that.
I'd say probably what sets you off, but now is made clear, is that he is one of the only people in this show right now who is one of the what we'd consider maybe the evil people, who's just pure
chaotic evil.
He's just chaotic. He's just like. He's not undermining about any of his stuff. He doesn't want to toy with his things. He just wants to fucking,
destroy
shit.
And
he enjoys it, and he wants to be vocal about how he enjoys
There's
it.
one thing he wants to toy with.
Yeah, that's right. So
Bum.
so he has brought a gift to Cersei. He said he was going to do so in the last episode, and he did. Last episode he captured everyone in hey V Buckley, that's not very nice, but he last episode attacked the Greyjoy fleet. He took Yara, his niece, hostage. He also took hostage Ellaria and Tyene Sand.
Yes.
Two of the Sand Snakes. The other two Sand Snakes, yeah, they dead. But Ellaria and Tyene, who is Ellaria's favorite daughter, were captured and Euron presented them in this episode to Cersei. And I loved his parade through the streets. He was having such a wonderful time.
Yeah.
He was so happy with himself. And then he presents them to Cersei.
He is like the Joker. That's a pretty good analogy of him.
He is a lot like the Joker. And he gives them to Cersei, and she says, and this is something that I focused in on, is he says basically he wants to marry her.
Yeah.
And she said, you shall have your heart's desire. She didn't say she'd marry him. She said he would get his heart's desire after the war is won. She has no intention of marrying him anyway.
No, fuck no.
But he doesn't seem to realize that. And
He had a reaction though. I feel like he was kind of like,
you think he was hoping for something a little bit more definitive, or not to have waited?
Well, no, I feel like
I
feel
took
like she's
from
gonna
that
piss
was
on Euron.
impatience.
I think he's gonna piss off Euron, and yeah, he's gonna get impatient or something.
Yeah. But so then, anyway, he's taking Yara, I'm assuming now, back to the Iron Islands, probably to do some sort of fancy-ass execution. But the Sand Snakes have been left in Cersei's care, and her revenge, because Ellaria Sand is the one who killed Myrcella by kissing her with, what's it called? It's called the Long Farewell.
It's called Poison Ivy's lipstick.
Poison Ivy's lipstick.
So what you said, you're right, because Casterly Rock is on the way back to Pike from King's Landing.
Right,
So he
and we
could be
did
on his way to Pike.
we saw his flagship in the bay in
Silence,
the
yeah.
attack on that fleet. So he may be just headed back up there with her.
Well, I think it's significant that they said, "Hey, this poison could take anywhere from a couple of minutes to months to kill this person." Because I still think that Bronn's gonna come and save her. It's poetic that she's in a jail,
Well,
which is
so-
where they met.
Right. So basically, what Cersei's done is she's giving Tyene the exact death that Ellaria gave Myrcella, which was she kissed her with poison. But they also specifically noted in this episode, Qyburn said it could take, I think he said it could take hours, it could take months, it depends on the person's constitution and so on. So they're specifically setting up that they closed the door on that, we don't see him anymore for now, but that doesn't mean she's dead yet.
Yeah, for hours to months, unless you're Myrcella, in which case it's about 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was quick.
She's a delicate little flower.
But
Myrcella
this
is
chick
delicate.
is strong though. She's like a
We
warrior.
also, there's a chance that they've built up tolerance to a lot of poisons in Dorne. They're the Sand Snakes. They poison their own weapons. In fact, there were a lot of people wondering if after the battle between the Sand Snakes and everyone with the Greyjoy battle and Euron, if there was a chance, because Euron had been hit with, I think, the whip, or like one of the weapons, if he would die because they poisoned it. We think that they were ambushed and didn't have time to poison the weapons, and that's so unlikely. But there are... so, hold on. 56 Loki says they said they adjusted the poison to make it longer. So it's not exactly the same. It's a slightly adjusted. But the point being, the reason that this is interesting is because we saw Bronn.
Yes.
We saw Bronn in the army with Jaime when they attacked Highgarden. And Bronn is the one who, like, he was sweet on Tyene specifically in the jail in Dorne, remember?
He wants the bad pussy.
He's the most beautiful woman he's ever seen, yeah.
So I'm very curious now that Bronn is back with the Lannisters, who are all based in King's Landing, if he may not find some way to rescue her or sneak her out. That doesn't seem like a very Game of Thrones way to go about things, because typically everyone dies in Game of Thrones. But I feel like they're setting something up there to not go exactly the way Cersei was hoping.
Yeah.
And the fact that Cersei didn't immediately kill everyone will come back to haunt her.
It's possible.
So either way, I thought it was a great revenge. Holy shit, that scene was powerful.
I was waiting for her to do something with the mountain, which, by the way, like, I made a tweet about this too. The mountain, he just stands still. Like, he hasn't done shit for seasons.
He's a great big puppet.
I thought the same
No,
thing you
he's-
did. It could just be a mannequin there. That they just put
Totally.
the armor on. It's like, we don't need to pay the guy.
You can't see his face hardly. You can just see eyes, but he's just like, he reminds me of Andre the Giant's character in The Princess Bride, where he's just like,
when
stiff.
he's being carted up to the wall.
Yeah. So are we gonna see him fuck shit up? Because I feel like we haven't seen the new version of the mountain.
Well, I think that's got to be a payoff that they've kept him underneath the armor for so long. There's obviously some surprise there, or else there's no reason to have kept it such a whole like Batman cowl kind of thing.
Sure.
And I think that with the Sand Snakes finally seeing him again and that whole like discord being brought up, I think that's gonna come to a head to a certain point.
Yeah, I think that I would love to see Ilaria. If they, like, let's say Bronn, rescues them, whatever. I'd love to see Ilaria get her revenge specifically on the mountain.
Actually, it would be pretty poetic considering the Hound's
But-
disfigurement. If the reveal of how the mountain looks is
It turns out, by the way, you have kind of seen his face before. Not well. When he, the shame lady?
Yeah.
When she got her down in the dungeon and let the mountain at her. You see his face a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's not super, like, it's not like it's, well lit. It's in the
Yeah.
middle of a dungeon. So it's still a little bit dark.
But I think the reveal with him, like, because he's the reason why his brother is disfigured.
Right.
So him seeing
So
his
we're
brother
still waiting
disfigured
for-
would be good circle.
We are still waiting for Clegane Bowl. That's the only thing that would be a downside if Ilaria got her revenge on the mountain, is then the Hound wouldn't be able to do so.
Wait, so that's very true. Shame Lady, I haven't thought about the religious cult in forever.
That's
the
because they
septon,
all got blown up.
which is great because I fucking hated that.
In
part.
fact, that was a specific point that the Iron Bank congratulated Cersei on.
It was killing him.
Get rid of the
So
church.
Shame Lady, she's just
Oh,
dead.
Shame Lady is hella dead.
Okay, all right, just making sure.
we
They
haven't
said
seen her.
she said that she was going to keep her alive for a
Yeah.
long time.
It's off-camera death, so it
Similar
always
to
comes-
Ilaria.
That's true.
Similar to Ilaria, she was like, "Oh no, you're not going to die today. It'll be a long time from now."
That being said, she wasn't a significant enough character that I feel like she's gonna come back and have an arc. I feel like she was just kind of like there. I don't know. I bet she won't come back.
Yeah.
I was just curious because we didn't see her die. So
Yeah, we didn't, but she's also, I feel like her,
Death by Snoo Snoo.
oh god, death by Snoo
Snoo
Snoo, poor Shame Lady. I feel like her role is completed though. I don't know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
more role she would have to play.
Yeah.
So let's see, what else? There was a lot here. There's a big change in Cersei, besides the fact that she's got her revenge and she's playing her hand very well. And that is that she does not give a fuck about secrecy with Jaime anymore. Discussed it a little bit earlier, but basically immediately after she gets her revenge, she's feeling all like
She
hot
feels
and bothered.
invincible.
She's
She
feeling
feels
pretty
invincible.
good.
Yeah.
She feels invincible.
After she gave a poisonous blowjob.
Yeah, I was worried about that. I was like, James didn't
Yeah,
get poisoned.
she did wipe it off. I wonder to some degree. I'm like, if you can just wipe the poison off, like, you should, like, what quantity do you need? If a kiss is enough poison to kill you, then you just like wipe it off and like how, I don't know. Maybe she
She took the antidote after though.
did. She took it, and then she went and she got.
And she would have traces of it in her mouth as well, so she can give it
Yeah,
to him.
so if she kissed Jamie, or if she, let's say went down on him and we got some Jamie butt, and then they spent the
butt.
entire night together. He's got a great butt. I was a
have good
little bit
butts.
upset at first because we have a tradition of looking at all of the content warnings when the episode comes
Nudity
up,
was up.
and we saw nudity. And then I saw Jaime butt, and I was like, if that's the extent of the nudity, I will be severely disappointed. It's a great butt,
So Cersei.
but I expect more. And then we saw Cersei,
Yeah,
and I
a
was
little
like,
bit of
all
Cersei.
right,
Yeah.
okay, here we go.
I wonder if he got a finger in the bum.
But the fact that Cersei the next morning opened the door to the maidservant and was like, yes, look at this dude in my bed.
That is my brother.
Well, she was also like fresh sheets because we fucked in them.
Yeah, we made him gross. And so I'm very curious, like, what the impact is going to be there. She clearly feels invincible, but will that sort of thing, as it spreads, impact her in any way?
I like the Cersei in the TV show a lot more than the books. I feel like in the books she's pretty stupid, but
No, she's in the books. She seems like she thinks she's smarter than she is.
right. But in the TV show this season especially, she's really making the right moves. it
She's
seems
very
like.
calculated.
Even the conversation with the Iron Bank, I
Yeah.
was very worried about because they owe a lot of money.
Yeah.
And previously she had told the Crown to stop paying them. That's why the Iron Bank's here now.
Right.
It's like the Iron Bank of Bravos is not a group you fuck with.
Right.
So it seems like if they're able to get them all of their money like she promised, the Iron Bank's going to continue to fund them again.
And so theoretically, she just got that money because they defeated Highgarden.
Yeah.
Right.
Jamie
And
walked in
Highgarden-
that room full of gold. and was like, yeah.
And Highgarden is now that the Lannisters had basically run through all their gold, they now have Highgardens to fund the rest of their war with, which is a huge hit for Daenerys' side.
Can we talk about, two things.
Okay.
Talk about Lady Tyrell's scene, how fucking
Oh
awesome that
God,
was. Or
that lady steals. She's stolen every scene in this show that she's been in.
But before I forget about it, Varys is like gonna die.
Oh, Varys?
So yeah, there was a foreshadowing from the Red Lady who acknowledges she does not want to see Jon. She
He's the most
doesn't want to
Davos
see.
she doesn't wanna see.
She
It's
doesn't want to see
Davos.
Davos, but also like she knows that it'll just like go badly if she does. But her prediction that she's going back.
She's seen her death.
She's going back across the sea, but she has to return because this is where she dies.
Yeah.
And
Why is she going back to the sea then?
I think she's I don't know go report into her people something.
Okay.
It's not that doesn't seem like it's very clearly outlined, but the point is she's going away, and Varys is like, yeah, I think you should get the fuck out of here and never come back. And she's like, I'm leaving. Yes, I'm coming back. I have to die here, and so do you. And I thought that was a very interesting little drop.
I am curious to know why it is that she has to return to Essos. I feel like there is something else she has going
Maybe
on
it's
that hasn't been revealed
maybe it's
yet.
part of this whole thing where she's still trying to seek her answers as to post.
Maybe why what she saw was wrong. Maybe
Yeah.
why
Do you think
it was are they fallible, or is what they see not always the truth? Maybe she's going to look for more into
Do
that.
you think that she's going to make a pilgrimage to Old Valyria to try to find her answers there?
I just hope we see the other lady in
cool.
red.
Yeah.
You know, from
Oh
there.
yeah, what happened to that
Oh,
lady?
Oh, she broke my heart.
Look on the bright side, Blaine. She's probably also a super gross old lady.
Wait, where was the other lady in
actress
red?
There was
I remember seeing her,
another
I
lady
remember
in
where
red.
She was.
She talked to wait, who? The other lady in red?
Yeah.
She talked to Daenerys about something. I feel like she was offering help or something.
was in Marine.
The Sapien
Okay.
asks, why does Varys hate her and want her to leave? I think that Varys dislikes Melisandre because he likes having the influence and being really the sole whispering voice in a ruler's ear. And I think she came in, immediately said, you should invite Jon Snow down, and like sort of like fucked with that.
Yeah.
And I think he doesn't like that at all. But also, TG Bro 123 says Varys hates red priests.
Oh, is that because when
He had his parts thrown in the fire as a kid.
Was that a red priest? I don't remember. I thought he said he was a sorcerer.
Oh, and he
Varys
hates
hates
magic of
magic.
any kind.
right. Okay, yeah, because it was a sorcerer.
That
I think
makes
is what
sense.
how he described a person who made him a eunuch.
Poor Varys, though. He's like contemplating. It's said that he's going to die now, and I know that they're going to pay that off. And
Well, everyone
sure
dies.
Sure, Valmagulidis, but like I wonder why they called so much attention to that, and like what's going to happen to him specifically, and how that's going to fuck up Daenerys.
Well, I'm also curious now that our best friend zone buddy Jorah Mormont has been cured. He no longer has grayscale. Sam, you did a real good job. He's now released. He's off to find Daenerys. last episode when he was asking Sam if he'd heard of the Dragon Queen arriving, and Sam said no. I hope to God Jorah doesn't get all the way back to Marine before he finds out that she sailed.
So I wonder.
Surely he'll find out, right?
Don't call me Shirley.
I had an interesting thought. Well, I thought it was interesting. When, after the Archmaester scolds Sam for, doing what he did, he tells him to start copying all those scrolls. Do you think that those are the scrolls Sam wanted access to previously?
They might be.
And
might be.
It looks like kind of a punishment, but it's a roundabout way to get him
to
what he
get
wanted.
him the information, because he has said he believes him.
Right.
I thought it was a very weird response. He's like, I believe you. I believe there's probably an army of the dead on the walk. But you know what? Humans have survived for a very long time. Chances are we will this time too. And so he didn't take an alarmist approach, but he may be sneaking Sam what he thinks he needs now that he's proven that he's not a big old dummy.
This is the Archmeister you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm totally on his side. And I feel like he's also trying to help Sam out. I think he's like a good character. It's like for the betterment of the kingdom.
Right. Like, who knows? And I'm curious what it is he's going to find that's going to be helpful, because we know that they already know about Dragonglass. They already know how the Night King was made. They already know that Valyrian steel can also kill him. Also, note in the scene with Olenna, they specifically were like, "Who has Joffrey's sword now?" "Oh, you do? Great." So they cleared that one right up, because a lot of people were like, "I think it's here. I don't know."
Oh, because that's Valyrian steel, right?
Yes,
Right.
because he's got one of the Valyrian steel swords. I'm seeing some speculation in the chat, which I really love, which is how to make Valyrian steel, because there are dragons around now, so the process could be rediscovered.
But dragons weren't necessarily directly involved, right? There was a lot of magic that was lost by the Doom of Valyria.
Right.
That's why no one knows how to make the new ones.
And it's also possible, I wonder if we'll learn more about the White Walkers as well, because the information that we know, it's always difficult. What we know is not what all the different characters know.
Correct.
So we know where all the swords are. Well, we know where most of the Valyrian steel is. We know about the Dragonglass. Sam knows about the Dragonglass. Sam, although we know how the Night King was made, Sam actually doesn't.
How do we know how?
Because he was made
the
children of the forest made him as a guardian went haywire.
I don't know.
But that was in a
2 seasons
vision.
ago?
That was in a vision, though. That was so Bran knows that, Sam doesn't.
Yeah, when Bran first started working with a three-eyed raven is when he learned that information.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Mark Fehrenbacher in chat says Brienne has one, doesn't she? Yes. Jaime gave her his sword, and I think that's Valyrian steel. The dagger that Littlefinger has is Valyrian steel.
Yeah,
Yes,
Oathkeeper?
that's the isn't the one Littlefinger has? Isn't that the knife that was actually used in the attempt on Bran's
Yes,
life?
correct.
And so I think it's that one, and that's Valyrian steel. And so, maybe they'll learn a lot more in those scrolls, though, about how to fight such a crazy army. Mm-hmm. And let's see what else. Let me go through
We didn't really talk too much about Tyrell. Had we known that she was responsible for Joffrey's death?
Okay, so we knew because she confessed it. I think it was in a discussion with Littlefinger, but she's alluded to it previously in previous seasons.
Okay.
But we've known that for at least a season that she was responsible for Joffrey's death.
And if you go back and actually watch that episode and pay attention to her, even though she's in the background, you can see her pick the jewel and drop it in the cup and everything.
Mira also has a sword.
Who?
Mira, that's Bran's new guardian.
How does she have a sword? What sword does she have?
She says, hold on. Sorry, we're reading through chat because you guys have a lot of great information. So yeah, she told Marjorie.
All right, I remember that.
And I think there might have been hints of it in a discussion with Littlefinger previously, but she basically came out and said it. And but this is the bomb here is that now Jaime knows that Tyrion was 100% innocent.
Yeah.
But also, he knows that she deliberately poisoned his son.
I like that
Also,
she took the poison, then immediately was like, "Yeah, I did it."
Yeah, she's like, "Sir, will it hurt?" And he's like, no, Gran, it won't hurt. And she's like, good, fuck your son.
Yeah, fuck it. I killed him.
It was a wonderfully calculated approach to how she did it, where she confirmed how it was going to happen, took the glass, chugged the whole thing,
So that he
made sure she
couldn't
took
take it
all,
back.
so she knew that there was no going back. Wiped her mouth and then said, like, it was so goddamn calculated.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just a theory that Mira has a Valyrian sword.
Okay,
so
we
he
know
just-
she has something, but it's not confirmed if it's...
Yeah, people were
it's
saying that
Valyrian.
maybe it's House Reed's weapon, but Howland Reed is still alive at this
Well,
point.
or Todd
even though
Galley's
we've
saying
never
she
seen
might
him.
have Dark Sister, but it's not confirmed. The Three-Eyed Raven was said to own that sword last.
Somebody made an interesting point and said that Tyrion told Jorah that his father's men killed him, and he was wondering if Jorah is going to see that Jon has his father's the old
Claw.
yeah, the
Oh.
sword and get attacked
Because he does
Jon.
have the same pommel and everything.
Yeah, because maybe he's going to come up to Daenerys and see Jon as like a suitor.
Now, I have to say, so going back to the scene with Olenna, I was really surprised by Jaime's reaction because in, the first episode of the season, Jaime was like, hey, seriously, you're a little crazy right now. Maybe we take it back a notch. And she was like, I'm going to burn the world and take it all over. And he was like, ugh. But now she's openly banging him. He's pretty happy about it. He gets to Olenna and he's like, you know what? Who cares what crazy shit she does? She's going to create a peaceful world and then no one will care how it was made.
Yep.
Like he is fully on the Cersei train right now. And Olenna had what I worry is another foreshadowing. She said that woman is a disease. She will be, she said, you love her, you poor fool. She'll be the end of you. And then she's like a disease, and I'm sorry, but I spread it and all that. But basically, that Cersei is going to be the cause of Jaime's death. So I'm now putting Jaime on death watch as well.
Everyone's on death watch at this point.
Well, yeah, everyone's on death watch, but I'm putting him especially on death watch. But so I'm revising my theory. I had a theory that he would acknowledge, like he would realize like how fucking crazy Cersei is and kill her and be a queen slayer in addition to a king slayer. But now I wonder if he's going to do that, but kill himself as well because he can't live with it. He is in love and he knows it, but that he won't be able to live with the stuff she's doing. And so he'll kill her and then kill himself. And I would be sad about that, but it would be a very appropriate way for those two to go.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think it's too romantic
Too romantic?
for Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones doesn't kill people romantically.
That's true. But Olenna went out like a champ. It was a little bit curious. There was absolutely no battle. And
you just saw like dead bodies. You saw an army approach, and then
yeah,
dead
you
bodies.
saw like march, dead people. Jaime walking in going,
I think that was also commentary though on even like what she said about her army.
she's like,
Did
yeah,
we
we were
do
never
well?
that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it wouldn't have been a great battle. It was just
Golden roses.
yeah.
Good as they could have been.
So I think we're probably running low on time. Is there anything that we need to hit before?
I think we've hit the main beats. Let's see. We checked in on the whole Daenerys versus Cersei matchup.
I want more Hound and I want more Jorah.
I get the feeling that we'll have Arya, we'll have Hound next episode
Those are the
because
two
they've
stories
been missing.
I love the most right now.
Let's see. We have Daenerys and Jon finally met and immediately failed to get along. Also, shout out to Tyrion on that one, by the way, for being so diplomatic, acknowledging immediately. Like, if I was your hand, I also would have advised you not to come.
Yeah.
That would have been stupid, but I'm not. So thanks for coming. And he did manage to broker a peace
he's
because it
always been-
looked like it was in danger of them being, forever at odds.
That's his story. Tyrion is constantly trying to advise people to be logical.
And he did a great job. So now John's going to get his dragon glass. Presumably, they didn't address this specifically, but she's like, all right, you can mine it. But in order for it to be any good, he has to be able to take it away with him. So is he no longer a prisoner?
Probably
That's not really addressed, but
I think that was implied.
Is there going to be a romance with Jon or Daenerys, like either them together or individually?
I don't know.
Like, is
They'd
there any
make
potential-
cute ass broody babies though. Also, shout out to Tyrion when he's brooding on the cliff and John's brooding on the cliff. He's like, "Ah, you brood so much better than I do." I love. It was a little bit meta, and I really enjoyed it. So
And
let's see.
Don't forget, Daenerys cannot have children. I think is that who you were
Yes,
saying?
they can't have babies. They would if they could, but
Or
they can't.
until the sun rises in the west and the mountains blow in the wind. Like
Something,
leaves.
yeah. Like she's just barren as hell.
Yeah.
Let's see, Jaime's taken High Garden. Cersei got her revenge on Ilaria, and she also don't give a fuck about secrecy with Jaime. My notes are very adult. Bran's returned to Winterfell, and also Littlefinger's working on Sansa. This is maybe the last point of order, because so we saw Sansa, she was giving her orders, and Littlefinger was like, "You're really good at this." And we also got just the tiniest insight into how Littlefinger's mind works. And after so long of him just, offering micro expressions basically, and that's how you know how he functions. It was cool to see him talk about playing out every direction, every scenario could go.
He broke a little, yeah.
And just like opening up about that for once. I thought that was really fascinating to see in his mind.
Listen, I want to say something real fast. Sorry, it's unrelated to what you're saying. Chat, we understand that Daenerys and Jon Snow are related. Targaryens don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah, they've married brother and sister for generations. The fact that Cersei is doing it with Jaime is only like a surprise, because the Targaryens were the only ones who did do it.
What's the Greyjoy that got his pee-pee cut off?
Oh, Theon. Yes,
Theon,
you're right. He got picked up.
He had a low point where people were stepping over him. I still feel like they're gonna redeem him somehow.
Don't care.
So,
Don't care.
Well, he's been picked
Push
up.
him off the boat.
He's been picked up by his fellow Iron Islands bros who know that he didn't try and save Yara, because he was like, "Oh, I tried," and they're like, "No, you didn't."
Why didn't they just kill him right then?
Well, if he's heading back to, if he's heading back to the Iron Islands as well, like on that ship, maybe there's a chance he can save Yara or sacrifice himself somehow to try and like make up for it. So I feel like he's headed somewhere. I don't know where, but somewhere.
I feel like they're gonna pay that off somehow, right? Because he's been such a bitch for the last several seasons.
He has, but it's the same
Like
time.
the last 7.
I do understand with the last episode, that sort of trauma isn't something you just get over.
Sure.
I'm so bored of him. Just.
He and Bran are like my lowest.
I am 10 times more interested in Bran than I am of fucking Reek.
But 10 times 0 is still 0, John.
It's okay.
Bran sucks.
All right, so we'll see what they're gonna end up doing, but I'm looking forward to the next episode. Do you guys have any final predictions? Anything that we should address before we wrap it up?
I think I said everything I want to say.
I want to see a dick.
Let's
season.
Let's.
I want to see 2 dicks. I want to see a flaccid dick, and I want to see an erect dick.
Let's see some not mangled dicks.
Braun, that's all I care about.
Non-dead dick.
I really do love Bronn, and I'm glad he's like back and he's like around and he's doing stuff, and I have hopes that he'll do something really awesome for Tyene. Because I don't know why else they would bring him back into the fold. It just seemed like a random appearance otherwise. Okay, so we're not going to talk about the preview because some of us. Oh yeah, also the final thing. Shout out to Euron goading Jaime.
Oh yeah,
In the
awesome
throne room.
exchange. Yeah.
That was it was such a wonderful lead-in to oh hey, now they're gonna be like brothers, and it sounds like he's saying brothers in arms. Like, I need to ask you all kinds of stuff, and Jaime was like, what, really, what?
Eskimo brothers.
And he's like, yeah, does she like a finger in the bum? Oh God, that was See,
He
this
almost
is why
attacked. He's like, shh.
this is no, not now, later. And so that's one of the reasons he's growing on me. He's just so fucking crazy.
I also like that actor played Bato in the horrible Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, also a random factoid for everyone. You can also see Euron host Eurovision. He hosted a previous season of Eurovision. So you should check that out. He's a little bit different. And that's all we've got this week. We'll be back next week with another stream post show, and I'll post this up. It'll be on the site tonight, YouTube probably tomorrow morning, because we've got our news videos we need to get out. But overall, I thought this was a great episode, and I'm
really
looking
good.
forward to more. Next episode, by the way, puts us over halfway.
I know. I've been thinking about it.
So enjoy that, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.